What is the funniest that you saw at school? A kid in my class tried throwing a glue stick up in the air and swiping at it to catch it, but instead launched it and it hit the teacher. In middle school I saw a girl run into a pole cause she wasn't looking. She screamed, then kicked the pole and screamed again. 10/10. Our gym teacher telling us how to dribble and shoot, and she missed every shot she took and double dribbled every time. Back in high school I saw this kid just totally eat it down a staircase of at least 10 steps. Then he got up immediately and ran off screaming, "I'm okay. I'm a car guy." A couple guys I went to high school with came in one day wearing Spider-Man and Venom costumes under their clothes. During lunch they shared their regular clothes and fought. Who won? Nobody. Everyone lost that day. Except the principal for starting a betting pool on who would win and then kept all the money for himself. Sort of like a Deadpool. A kid got stuck in the toilet and we had to get the teachers to pull him out. Here's the story. He was a small kid and I'm pretty sure he was playing tag with his friends during lunch break. I was in the bathroom doing my business and he came running in with his friends behind him. He ran into the toilet and as his friends came to tag him, he fell into the toilet. He got stuck. His friends needed the teachers to help him get out. I was laughing so hard. When I was in 3rd grade, the principal said that we are gonna host a crown party because of a recent event. So in the next 2 days we were all dressed royal and stuff. But then you see the class next to me, they misheard crown for clown, and lem tell you, these kids looked so funny. I kinda felt bad because they might have been embarrassed. But hey, what else can I do? Not funny for me, but funny for classmates. I ate something during lunch in grade 2 and it caused me to feel the urge to S. At the time I was terrified of esting in any restroom other than at home for various reasons. So I willed myself to hold it in. 2 classes later, I was feeling really uncomfortable and could not focus on the lesson. As luck would have it, the teacher called upon me to write the answer to a question on the board. I tried refusing, but the teacher wouldn't have it, and she grabbed my wrist and yanked me out of my chair. An explosive diarrhea situation occurred, and since I was wearing shorts, the S ran down my legs and onto the floor. I had to transfer to a new school the next year to escape bullying. There was this guy. His name was, no joke, Harold Balls. And yes, he went by Harry. He was on the swim team and some kid from the other school was reading out the lineup on a PA to swim meet when he got to Harry Balls and clearly thought it was a joke, and he burst out laughing when he said it. Harry just walked off and quit the swim team. I was in robotics. Our supervising teacher had gone to his office to get something, and we were getting ready to leave. It was like 7 PM and we were all hyped up on pure adrenaline and the smell of Gearbox lube. Somehow, a discussion over what exercises to do to get fit started. At the start, it was innocent stuff like, you cannot only lose weight on your stomach area, you gotta lose the fat between your inner organs first. Okay, but like, how? Why can he do 10 more push-ups than you can? Unsurprisingly, considering we are a bunch of teenagers left alone in an empty classroom, it quickly spiraled into a debate into what would happen if you did lots of squats. Would your butt get smaller and flatter due to the fat loss? Or would it get bigger due to muscle gain? A girl, which we'll call C, has her jacket half on, dangling off of one shoulder, and she says, in the most serious voice, "No, you are all wrong. You get sculpted ass. No, no, hear me out. Have you seen those Greek statues? Sculpted ass." She keeps repeating the phrase to emphasize her point, and it gradually escalates. Sculpted ass, sculpted ass, sculpted ass, sculpted ass. At that moment, our supervising teacher walks in. The door was open, and the school was basically empty at this point. She has her back to the door, and is busy emphasizing sculpted ass. I look over, and our teacher has the most bewildered, confused yet amused look on his face. It was priceless. I collapsed on the floor due to laughter, and while wheezing I told them, "Mr. P is here." A look of horror crossed C's face after she realized what I was saying. and she turned around and started profusely apologizing. At which point our teacher said, "You guys continue," and sat down in a desk in an optimal viewing spot. It was glorious. One kid was walking around and asking kids in his class for a dime because he just 10 cents away from buying something from the vending machine. Then he sees one of his friends walking in hallway and asks him for a dime, and he says, "Yeah, I got a dime. I'll hook you up in the parking after school." He was talking about drugs, but the dean was literally 10 feet. Long story short, they found drugs and a knife in his backpack when they searched him. What is the punishment for being caught in school with a knife? Death. In 9th grade, when I was in biology class, one of my table mates got out one of those soda pellet candies and crushed it with his ID card into dust. Then he snorted it, and after a few seconds, he started sneezing a lot. I looked at my teacher and she looked disgusted before telling my table mate off and going back into the lesson. It was hilarious. Once, in 5th grade, we had a lockdown drill, and this kid hopped up onto the lockers. Above the lockers, there were windows that looked into the classroom. He looked through, and in a really strange voice, yelled, "I see a Yahoo." This is an underrated response. I genuinely laughed out loud. Oh, it's gotta be the one time this girl in my class, a real know-it-all smartass, but everyone loved her. She was guaranteed to get a teacher off topic, dared our teacher to throw a binder clip at her. It directly related to the lesson as we were learning about how our actions had no consequences. The class was existentialism and the teacher was a Dead Poets Society ripoff. She continued to egg him on for the entire class before he finally agrees. She stands up straight in the center of the class, and we are all seated in a U-shape around her. My teacher winds up and absolutely hurls the binder clip at her, missing by a bare inch and slamming the quietest, sweetest girl in class directly in the face. Everyone stops, shocked for a second before the quiet girl loudly proclaims, "Your aim fucking sucks." You could tell it definitely hurt her, but we all busted out laughing. She was a great sport about it, and I don't think I had even heard her speak, let alone yell or swear. To this day it's one of my favorite stories. Of course our teacher profusely apologized, and we would casually bring it up as an inside joke between anyone in the class. Interestingly enough, it kind of all brought us together as it was the first week of our senior year. That class became one of my absolute favorites. Honestly, that's the years I miss most about high school. The mostly innocent, hilarious moments that stick with everyone involved. Some kid shat himself whilst wrestling in PE. He denied it ever happened even though everyone saw. About a week later, some other lad climbed onto the roof of a house neighboring my school, trying to get our ball back, and found his S-stained clothes on top of the roof. Instead of leaving them there, the lad kicked them off the roof into the neighbor's drive. The neighbor came to the school and complained after finding S-covered garments with my school's logo on. We had a whole school assembly about the issue. The kid didn't come forward and admit it was him. The teachers ended up looking at CCTV to find out who the culprit was. Kid who shat himself was most likely seen running naked outside and throwing his S-covered clothes onto a roof. Lad who climbed onto the roof was caught kicking them into the drive and climbing on the roof. The climber was suspended for a few days. The kid who shat himself was never seen again. I think he may have left due to embarrassment. Poor guy, hoped he's doing well, but F me, it was hilarious. Derek was one of the second tier of popular kids. I didn't know him well, but everyone called him Dogger. Anyway, Dogger was stuffing around in year 7, age 12, on a basketball court. Stands at the free throw line, throws a basketball into the air, and kicks it really fucking hard toward the other end of the court. Everyone goes silent and just watches as this magnificent kick sails through the air and then, swish, full court shot, from the wrong free throw line and kicked, goes in. We must have fucked up 50 or more basketballs trying to repeat the feat, in a game that became known as Doggerball. Basketballs don't like that level of abuse. They developed huge bumps. Dogger himself grew up to be the third best player on the school soccer team, behind 2 people who started playing professionally. No idea what happened to him after that. We were playing soccer in gym class and a classmate of me kicked the ball really hard and the ball hit our gym teacher right in the fucking face while he was sitting on a bench reading and his glasses flew off his face. He was fucking angry, but it was an accident. So my classmate didn't get in trouble, even though most of us think he did it on purpose. Kid smashed the window of his mom's car as she pulled in to pick him up. Unlucky cricket hit, I believe. The next day, he denied it ever happened. Now, this would be believable had his mom not have put Glad wrap in the place where the window once was. This kid pulls up in his mom's car and we all come to ask him about his high-tech glass. He says something along the lines of, "Nah, this is just a refit from the dealer," and proceeds to roll down the window, sucking the Glad wrap into the mechanism and further damaging the car. Pretty sure he had gotten something else from the dealer. In high school, some students had made a meme account that was just about the school, making fun of teachers, etc. So one day it was gonna snow real hard and the school didn't want to let us go home before it was gonna snow, so one of the students announced on the meme page we were gonna protest that, and like 200 people ended up throwing mosh pits in the smaller hallway next to the principal's office. And it worked. Best day of my life.